Do you know over 30 million Americans suffer from an eating disorder? Among 3% of adolescents from the ages of 13 to 18 are diagnosed with an eating disorder. Generally, adolescent girls are at higher risk to developing this eating disorder than are boys. 18% of adolescents at a young age are dealing with some sort of eating disorder. Hey guys, today's show I have a special guest by the name of Kevin Barciaga. He is an eating disorder coach. This is so important with all the statistics that we're looking at. 30 million Americans are dealing with some sort of eating disorder. So what Kevin is going to be teaching us is his journey on overcoming the way he thought when he struggled with an eating disorder, but he's going to help us understand what he teaches his clients in rethinking the way they look at food and their relationship with themselves. Listening to the Purpose Driven Person podcast. This podcast is made for leaders unwilling to give up their desires to be purpose driven. Guys, I made this show for a compass for you to have more purpose in leadership through 4 concepts: creation, communication, collaboration, and connection in both business and in life. My name is Matthew Cox. I'm the founder of Never Give Up Youth Healing Center, Never Give Up Wellness Center, and Never Give Up Foundation. You can find me at MatthewLelandCox.com. Are you ready? Well, let's do this. Hey, Kevin, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. This show is all about purpose-driven, people that are purpose-driven about what they do in life. And I'm excited about the topic we're going to be talking about. So, Kevin, tell us where you're from first. Let's start there. Tell us a little about your background, where you're from, where you grew up. Kevin, tell us where you're from first. Let's start there. Tell us a little about your background, where you're from, where you grew up.
I'm a physical therapist based in Modesto, California. I was born in Florida, but I spent most of my childhood near Washington, D.C. So I've been all over.
Washington, D.C. Wow. Was it cold in Washington or?
Not really. I mean, you get a blizzard every 5 years, but it's actually, it's not the Great White North.
Not the Great White North. That's good. And then you grew up in Washington, D.C., and then you went out to California. Now, you're a physical therapist. Did you do your schooling in California or Washington?
No, I actually went back to Florida for school, and then I traveled as a physical therapist, and I took contracts in different states. And Right now I'm finishing this contract here in Modesto, so Central Valley.
So you do a lot of traveling in your career. So what kind of physical, is it just recovery, everything physical therapy wise, or?
A lot of people who have been hospitalized or have been in ICU. You get some strokes, you get some joint replacements, COPD, kidney disease. It's kind of a little bit of everything.
Okay. So now it's really exciting that you're a physical therapist and you're helping people. So naturally you like helping.
I like getting results.
All right, cool. And in this journey, I want to jump into some of the things you've experienced through your journey. Now we're going to be talking about weight loss, eating, and some of the things you found through your journey figuring this out. So when it comes to eating and weight loss, what have you seen working with people or yourself? Tell us a little about that.
What works is giving yourself time to change, and instead of trying to lose a lot in a short amount of time or trying to overhaul your entire life in one day, that usually doesn't work. I like people to make small changes, and then those small changes over time lead to a massive change. So look for a 1% change. Fix a small habit first before you start fixing these bigger habits. If you can't fix something small, how can you fix something that's big? So I don't recommend these plans that say lose 5 pounds your first week or 20 pounds your first month. I think those actually backfire and cause more weight gain in the future. So
yeah, and it causes depression on top of it, because if you start something, you can't do it, you're going to get frustrated and just throw the towel in, right?
Right.
And so you want to do that. Now, being a physical therapist, and is it weight loss coach, life coach? What do you?
I guess if you want to name eating disorder coach or eating psychology coach or
I love it. I love it.
healthy eating coach, whatever title you want to use, it's fine with
And
me.
that's good, because I want people to understand this is a huge thing. We were talking about this earlier. There's not a lot of people that they do these fad diets. They do these things that really, they're all over the internet, they're everywhere. But percentage wise, how much success do you think people have on these fad diets?
In terms of long-term,
Yeah, long term.
let's just say if we took somebody on a regular diet and followed them for a year, not very good. I would say maybe 1 in 5
and,
are
and
going to get the result that they want.
and that's hard. 1 in 5, they're gonna really push it. That one personally went through some experience. How much weight did you have to work on? Tell us a little about your story, your journey through all this.
Yeah, my story started when I was normal. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but
Hmm.
I became really interested in health and nutrition, fitness, and which was fine. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in college, and then I found that and thought, oh, this is really interesting. That was fine, but then the execution was off, and I started to lose weight. My health started to decline. I had no testosterone and couldn't build muscle mass, so my health was worse, and I was less healthy than when I started. But then that really regimented type of eating, what I call orthorexia, ended up leading to multiple eating disorders in my 20s, like binging, purging, and binging, fasting, or binging and binging, fasting, or binging, binging without fasting, or chewing and spitting, whatever. I mean, name of the behavior, and I did it. So then I did gain weight. Then I tried to lose it through really restrictive methods, and then that backfired. And it was just this constant roller coaster for 8 or 10 years.
Wow. So up and down, you got interested in weight loss, and it kind of took you a whole nother journey. And
I didn't get interested in weight loss per se. I became interested in nutrition and physiology,
okay.
because I didn't have weight to lose to begin with. So that's the irony of it all. If I had never changed anything, I would have never had that experience.
So what changed your method of thinking? How did you get out of this rut that you created?
I realized that I didn't need any specific diet. No one food was the problem. I didn't need a specific diet. No one food was the problem. I didn't need to have a perfect life. I didn't need to have perfect circumstances. What I needed to do was start challenging some of the beliefs I had, like this is not important enough to change today, or I can wait until tomorrow, or now is not the time. There's always a reason to delay change. Of course, I like to dream about the change. I just didn't want to do it because that required some work. That required tough decisions. That required me to get out of my comfort zone. But that took me that mindset, that change in my mindset took me a greater part of a decade.
Okay. So tell us a little about, take us through the process of you went through this, then you figured this out. How do you help a client? Take us from start to finish, because we were talking about this earlier. I think it's all in the mind to begin
Hmm.
with before it's in what you put in your mouth, because you're not going to change what you put in your mouth unless you start here, right?
Right.
So tell us what you've came up with, because you've, as a coach, or if we call it a coach, right? As a coach, you've taught people, or you're teaching people what you've done to overcome this or manage it. Should we say manage it? Because we don't truly overcome it unless we start managing it and working on it.
I think at first it is about management,
Hmm.
but the goal is to eliminate the behavior for
Okay.
good. Uh, so how do I start? I start with the beliefs that they have. I also like to talk about the language that they use to describe it. So it's like quit labeling different foods and
Hmm.
quit labeling days as good and bad, or I had a good day, I had a bad day. So be careful of that language. Also, I want them to be aware of the thoughts and the excuses in their own head. What thoughts are driving this behavior? what you're thinking. Also be conscious of the times when you're the most vulnerable. Like what are these triggers? That's the word we'd like to use. What circumstances drive this behavior? When do you typically engage in this behavior? So it's about making them more conscious and more aware of what they're doing.
Okay, and this is good because I can relate dealing with food. I have that same behavior, and I agree. So there's certain triggers for me when I'm highly stressed. I start going to the fridge, or it's usually in the evening for me. That's the time I have to be really conscious of. So for me, I have to know, hey, it's 6 o'clock. I'm not going to eat after 7. I'm going to bed because there's nothing that happens good after 7.
Usually not, no, and that's a familiar complaint.
Yeah, and so I like that you're using, what you say. Now let's dive in a little what you say. Now let's dive in a little about that. Be careful of what you tell yourself. Tell us about that a little bit more depth.
Yeah, don't let an episode or a few bad choices define your entire day.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, let's say you overeat a little bit one night and say, "Oh, I was having a good day, and then I screwed up." Well, be careful of that language. It's like you made a bad decision, you did something that was not in line with your goals. But does that invalidate the entire day? I would say no. Maybe a lot of good things happened yesterday, but don't let that one decision make it a bad day. Or say, for example, oh, I was doing really well, and then I had a bad food. Like, what was that? I was like, well, I had some cake or whatever. You know what I mean? Quit being so black and white. It's not bad. It's just you didn't make the optimal decision, and you can make better decisions in the future.
Well, and the cool thing is what you're saying is that, hey, you had the cake, but the first part of the day was great. Have
Yeah.
had a successful part of the day, but it's also knowing that it's baby steps. And I think a lot of times we get on ourselves, and the worst critic for us is ourselves. We beat ourselves up.
Hmm.
We have this expectation that's unrealistic because media has hardwired it. We have to look a certain way, feel a certain way, and it's really your own journey. Did you have to come to grips to that it's your journey, not anybody else's, and stop comparing? Did you have any issues with comparing, or have you had any clients that do that where they compare?
I think we all compare, especially in the age of social media. And you think we all compare, especially in the age of social media. And you look at these Instagram stars, and they have these perfect bodies. And I think that initially altered my behavior in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all impressionable at that age. We all have our own insecurities, and why don't I have that? Why am I not that good? And I it's impossible, I think, to completely avoid that game, the
Yeah.
comparison game, unless you just want to turn off the internet and not consume any media whatsoever. It's hard because you're always going to see something that you don't have that you want. I think that's how our brains are hardwired. Our brains are not hardwired for satisfaction,
Mm.
because it's like a ratchet. You achieve one level, and then you want the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. So yes, there is that comparison, and I don't think social media helps.
No.
But or blame social media. I think the answer to that is to reprogram your own thoughts.
Yeah, because if I see one of these social media stars, it's just training our thoughts, saying, "Wow, they look good," and move on, and not obsess on it, not look at it, and say, "I wish." Because a lot of times, I know in every field that we're in, there's always somebody that's has something we want. I like how you said that. We're always looking at, hey, we want to be better, we want to feel better, we always want optimate health, right? But to get that, it's not as hard as we make it in our heads. I think we're our biggest roadblock. So how do you move that roadblock out of people's minds? Because I think we'll start something, we'll do it for a few days, then we have that frustration, then we stop, and then somebody else tells us about something else, then we start another fad.
Yeah.
What do you do doing that?
I ask them, what is it that you really want?
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people know what they want.
So what are some answers you hear from people when you ask that question?
Well, there's a lot of hesitation because I don't think they really know, but a lot of times what they want is freedom. They want health. They want to be normal. They don't want to have addictive habits. And those are all good things to have. But if you're chasing a certain body image, just ask yourself, why do I really want that? And is that really going to make me happy? And am I willing to sacrifice everything else just to achieve that? Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you see somebody who has a really great body, but then you realize that they spend 3 hours a day in the gym. Okay, well, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I can be satisfied with something else that takes a fraction of the effort. So you don't see the effort and the background story. All you see is that final result. You don't see the effort and the background story. All you see is that final result.
No.
And so maybe it's not worth it to you, because everything comes with the cost. So if you want to spend 3 hours in the gym each day, that's fine, but that's 3 hours that you're not doing something else.
Yeah.
So what really matters to you? What is it that you really want? What are you willing to fight for?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I have a lot of good friends that are in the UFC. They do a lot of exercise, and they spend all day in the gym working out, and we only do see the aftermath of it. Like we see them and go, man, you're so fit. But if you ask them, they said, man, I've worked my butt off to get here. And it didn't just start yesterday. It started like years ago.
It was hours a day for 6 days a week for the last 2 years. And if you want that, you can do that, but it's going to take a tremendous amount of sacrifice.
Are we, a majority of us, are we not? It's kind of like I will never be a long distance runner, unless I'm from a country that I'm just hardwired to do that. I'm not 6 foot. I don't have long legs. But maybe if I put the time into it, but it's like what you said, I don't want to be a long distance runner. I don't want to put the time into it. So if I want to be that fitness, 6 ab, really big, huge, I'm going to have to put the time into it, right?
Yeah. Be honest with yourself. Like, do you have the body type to be a distance runner?
I'm short and I played a lot of soccer when I was younger, so I was fast, but I would never be that long distance. And the reason I'm using this example, it's the same thing as when they come into does body type have a role in this weight loss and habits? Because a lot of people, I've had clients where I can't. It's how my genes are. That's one of the excuses I used to hear all the time. It's just how my family is. You ever get that?
Yeah. I mean, blaming childhood or genetics. You can't change either, but you can definitely get an optimal result.
Yeah.
Given the restraints that you have. But everybody has restraints.
Okay.
Nobody has the perfect genes. Nobody had the perfect upbringing. Nobody has perfect circumstances. So, given your restraints, what is the best outcome?
Yeah.
So think about that.
Yeah. So the best outcome is just looking at what we can control and can't control. Like if it's our genes, we're gonna figure out the best system for ourselves that gets the optimum results, right?
Exactly. So if I go to the gym, for example, and I see a guy bench pressing, 350
system for ourselves that gets the optimum results, right?
Exactly. So if I go to the gym, for example, and I see a guy bench pressing, 350, wow, that's great. That's a tremendous amount of athleticism there. I'm never going to bench press that. Okay, I don't have the body type for it. I'm 5 feet 4 inches, barely 130 pounds. That's not my body type. I have the long distance body type. Okay, now given those restraints, can I improve my bench press if I really wanted to? Yeah, I could. Maybe I could hit 200, maybe 220. But I'm not gonna lift what some of these big guys are. They got the barrel chest and these arms that are bigger than my thighs. Okay, that's their strength, and they know that. But I know what my strength is. So follow your strengths and be honest, and then double down on those strengths. And but look at the people who do have the results that you want. It wasn't easy for them. I mean, I don't think it's easy for anybody. It's easy to look at the result and ignore the struggle. Or it's like in business when you look at somebody who's doing really well. Yeah, but you don't see the last 5 years of sacrifice and struggle. All you see is that final result.
And I've worked with a lot of, it's funny you say that, a lot of businessmen that come in and coached for weight loss. They'll say that, man, I've been so successful in this area, but I suck in this area. They'll sacrifice one area and not the other. So how does somebody be able to have both? Can they have both? Can they have a successful career and a successful health? Is it a balancing act?
I think you can have both. It's just if you're doing well in one area but you're not doing well in another, you might have.
Balancing act.
I think you can have both. It's just if you're doing well in one area but you're not doing well in another, you might have to hire a coach or a consultant. Maybe that's not your strength. Like for example, a lot of men, they do really well in business, but then their personal lives are terrible. They don't know how to handle women. They don't know how to communicate with women. They don't know how to read women. You know, they're total betas in that area. But when it comes to business, they're awesome. So I don't think everybody can excel in every area of life without some sort of mentorship or coaching. You can't sit in a room and come up with the answers to life on your own. You have to read books, you have to learn, you have to find people who have the result that you want.
And so it's interesting you say that, because a lot of times people will results. They always just
Mm-hmm.
they say, I want that, and they don't. But then when you come in and maybe as a coach or as a trainer, I know some trainers, they'll start training you, and they'll say, hey, this is going to take a while. But a lot of times we're hard driven, and I think this is just, maybe it's Americans or maybe just people in general.
Yeah.
We'll get into it about 2 weeks, and then we'll go back to bad habits. Maybe a week of exercising, a week of eating, and what about the ones that? And this is the question I have: is what about the ones that we start all that, we get some results, we're seeing it, then we self-sabotage? Let's talk about a little bit about self-sabotaging.
Well, I think it starts with, why are you doing this? You know, what's your why power? You know, what's your compelling reason? Why are you starting this journey? Because it's not always going to be easy, and I think always going to be easy. And I think those first 2 weeks, it's kind of fun because the initial results come easily. So then we feel motivated, but then we hit a roadblock, and then it's easy to end the journey there. So you need to start with the expectation that there are going to be challenges, that it's not always going to be easy. And when you do reach that roadblock or that challenge, what is your plan then? What is going to compel you to keep going? So what's your big why? Have an important why. So if it's just, I want to look good for a wedding, maybe that's not compelling enough. You know, maybe it's your mom and your grandma died of diabetes and you don't want to die of that. You know, have a big why to keep you going in those bad times.
So what was your big why, Kevin? Was it health? Was it longevity? What made you keep walls?
It was a lot of them. I wanted to be healthy, and I was healthy earlier in my life, and so I wanted to restore that. I wanted to regain what I had lost. I wanted control over my life. I wanted control over my health. I was a personal trainer in my mid-20s and then a physical therapist later, so I wanted to live my message. I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to do triathlons again. So I had all of those. I had a lot of whys.
So a lot of people, when they hit those walls, what was it like when you would hit those walls? Would you start doing some self affirmations? Walk us through it, because that's where I think most of us that have struggled with this will hit walls. Will say, I've had a bad day, stress, whatever. And you're talking about the why has to be bigger.
Yeah.
So walk through what it was like. So I know you had those moments where you just wanted to say, screw everything. How did you get through it?
For many years, I didn't get through it.
Okay.
And I think it's because I didn't have an important enough why. I think for a long time, it was just I wanted to lose the weight and look better. And I don't think that's a really, really good why. And I don't think it's enough for a lot of people. They might say that, but it's not. And so when I sabotaged myself, I said, it's okay. I can always start next week, next month, next year, next whatever. Thing is, next week turns into next year, next decade. And you've wasted a lot of time. So when my why became a lot more important, like having control and doing the right thing because it's the right thing, not because somebody's watching, and not because I'm going to look a certain way, but because it's the right thing. And doing the right thing to have another reason. It's the right thing to do. If somebody drops $20, you give it back. Or if the cashier doesn't count the money correctly, you correct the mistake. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Okay. Is there any more motivation for that? I don't think you need another reason.
No, I think you hit it. And I think that's the biggest thing is as when we're going through this journey, because weight loss and eating, it's a big issue. I mean, there's a lot of people throughout my career coaching I've dealt with, and even personally, I've worked through it. And that why, I like that you said that why has to be so big for us that it motivates us when we do hit that wall. Because it's just like a runner. It's called the runner's wall. You're going to start running, say, a 3-mile race. You're going to hit a wall and you got to endure through it. And this weight loss journey is no different. I remember in 2000, I think it was 2002 or 3, I almost hit up to 300 pounds. I almost got to that point. And I did that. I remember sitting there going, okay, what is my reasoning of doing this? And my buddy took me in and he goes, let's start doing triathlons. And you doing triathlons. I'm like, what? I can't even, what are you talking about? And that was our journey. We worked at the hospital at the time, and every lunch we'd go out and start training. We'd go swim and we'd go do something. And we did it for about a year, and I lost over 100 pounds just doing triathlons.
Wow.
But I had a why, and I'm going what you're saying. And there was days, I'd rather eat the bag of M&Ms or do, because it was tough times. I just went through a divorce right then, and so there was a lot of things going through that it was easier to go drink a lot of, I think at that time in college, it was Dr. Pepper. That was my favorite vice. And so the journey, it's real for people, because this is, I was excited to interview you, Kevin, because this is a huge thing for people. People that have came into my office and sat down as weight loss. Hey, and it always starts with what we said earlier. They want to look like somebody. And so then we would have to go through and say, is that really the reason? And we'd have to dig through and say, why are you doing it? And so I love this. I love that you're going out. This is a huge thing for people, that once you can conquer this area in your life, you can do anything when you control it and manage it. So what I want to kind of bring to it is, what can a client do to work with you? Because I think everybody needs a coach. I do. I honestly, I've seen it over the years. I have a coach. How can they get coaching from you?
They can go to kevinburciaga.com/empowered eating, and they can find me on YouTube. My channel is Kevin Burciaga.
Now, on your YouTube channel, do you address these things in deeper? Do you go through, what do you teach on your YouTube channel?
I talk a lot about eating disorders, healthy living, eating psychology. So anything from binge eating to bulimia, to orthorexia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in those areas, like you just mentioned, some pretty severe disorders. When you're in those, because I haven't experienced that, I have a love-hate relationship with food. So I do more of the overeating. But bulimia and anorexia, is there some denial in that when you're stuck into that rut and that habit? Is there denial?
As they have a problem.
Okay. See,
but I think I think the problem is this urgent enough to fix now?
Okay.
Or can I wait? Can I wait? Can I wait a little longer? And that was me, always waiting, always planning, always dreaming.
So
So I like to help my clients overcome that.
you're in a mindset of wait. So I can go a little longer. I can
Yeah,
quit anytime.
yeah, waiting becomes its own addiction.
Okay.
It's like you're addicted to the waiting game. You're addicted to dreaming.
And you hit that earlier too. I think it's on both ends. You said a lot of times we'll wait. Hey, I can start tomorrow again. I can wait till next week. I have this event coming up, so I want to eat. So I'm going to wait till the week after. So it
Yeah.
sounds like that waiting game's kind of all over the place. That we.
Yeah, and that's your brain working, because your brain is a protective mechanism.
Hmm.
So waiting is the safer option instead of taking action. It's like diving into a cold pool. Like, it's gonna sting.
uh,
So you stand on the pool deck and do an hour of stretches.
do you think
It's,
it is? Do you think it's the human side of us that we're so worried about giving up something that we feel that we can't live without it, or our vices?
yeah, they've shown that we're more afraid of losing than we are excited about gaining. So the brain is loss averse. We would rather not lose something than to gain something. And that's like playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And the brain is designed to play not to lose.
Well, and that's the biggest thing is we'll fight for whatever we need to keep in our lives, but we won't give up the things we know we should. For whatever we need to keep in our lives, but we won't give up the things we know we should.
Yeah,
it,
it's unfortunate, but that's going to be the challenge of all of our lives, is overcoming our brain's natural instincts and our brain's natural disposition. And if you can do that, you're going to live an awesome life.
well, I'm excited. This is cool. This is a huge thing you do. This is very purpose driven. It just excites me when somebody takes something like this and drives and has a purpose in life to help others. And I'm excited for your clients because you're helping people save their lives. To be frankly honest, it's a life saving thing you're doing, because I don't think people look at it that way. You either take care of it now, or you're going to spend a lot of time in the hospital later, dealing with other elements if you don't take care of it now. And that's what I'd always tell clients. I says, do you want to spend the money now with a trainer, want to spend it later when you have to go do dialysis or other things, because you let it go? So either way, there's a cost. Because a lot of times when I'd say, oh, hey, my coaching program's this, they'd be, man, that's a lot of money. I says, well, either way, you got to invest into yourself. I don't ever tell them it costs that. I says, invest into yourself. So is it important for them to invest into themselves through this journey? Has it been a lot of investment for you?
Oh, tremendous. I mean, just in terms of time and energy and the money I spent, I hired my own coaches, my own consultants to get to this point. Because I started this business, or at least I started planning this business over 2 years ago. And I'm just now getting the momentum that I wanted. So it's not something that you start overnight. It takes a lot of preparation. I had to develop myself, and I had to develop my own offer, my own messaging. So that was a long journey. Was it worth it?
It's going to do a lot of good for people. Now, you have your website as well. So you have your YouTube channel. Can they get a hold of you through your website and Facebook as well?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Kevin Daniel Burciaga.
Okay.
So I have a business page there, and then all my YouTube videos have contact information in the description box. And then if you go to my website, you click the link and it goes straight to my calendar. So I am very easy to find.
Good. All
That's
right.
that
That's good.
that's intentional.
And I like it. And one of the things I just want to tell the listeners, if you're struggling with anything, weight loss, addiction, that's what Kevin does. He's going to help you through what is causing you to hold on to those things, and help you find some freedom, right? And it's a journey. So I want them to understand it's not just a quick fix thing. This is a lifestyle that you're going to teach them, right?
Exactly. So it's a whole system. So it's not
Yeah.
I think it goes a lot deeper than that. They don't need more meal plans. They don't need more knowledge. I think what they need is more execution and implementation.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because those meal plans and all those fad things drive us crazy, right?
Yeah, if you can't control what you're eating, what good is the meal plan?
Yep, it's all about control. It's looking at what, and here's the thing that I want them to understand is, that's why you get a coach. Control is if I'm having a moment and I'm, hey Kevin, hey, I need some help. Walk me through this. Walk me off the ledge. Why am I feeling this way? And that's where a coach is going to come in, correct? To kind of explore those feelings, right?
Exactly. Give you more clarity. Give you those aha moments.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, and I'm hoping that if you're struggling with that, you really reach out to Kevin, because he's going to really walk you through it. If you're struggling with that, you really reach out to Kevin, because he's going to really walk you through it, and he's going to help you understand where you need to go and that why. And I think that's the biggest thing, Kevin, you being a purpose-driven person, is you help people find the why throughout their life. Why is it occurring? Why is it happening?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a why for everything. You weren't born like this. Something happened on the way. And what thoughts are driving this? Or what beliefs are driving this? There's some belief in there that compels you to do this. And let's start challenging them.
And you break down that belief system, and you start really getting them to look at that belief system.
Exactly. That's where I like to start with my clients, instead of focusing on the weight loss and the nutrition. That comes a lot later.
Oh, that's cool, man. I'm excited. Well, Kevin, I'm excited. And is there anything you want to leave with them? We have a pain is going up. What are 3 things you can leave with the listeners that can help them through this, and also why they need to work with you or reach out with you?
Do something today to start making progress. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to transform everything. You don't have to overhaul your entire life. You don't have to clean out your kitchen. Start making better decisions today. And those small decisions make a big difference over time. So start today, be consistent, and be patient with the process.
It's easy. That's as simple as it is start baby steps, right? One step at a time.
Start turning that crankshaft.
I like it. Well, Kevin, I appreciate you being on the show, and I want to have you back, because I want to do these shows where we check in and maybe have shows with you, giving us the tip of the day and showing us what we can do, because it's huge. Weight loss is big for me, and in my career as mental health, we see it all day. That's usually the 360 when it comes to mental health. 360 health starts with the body first, then the mind. Because there's usually something out of line in the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it causes our mental health. So I appreciate being on the show today. It's good stuff. I'm excited. If you want to get a hold of Kevin, reach out to him. Go to his Facebook and go to his YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to his YouTube channel, because he's going to give you lots of knowledge there, lots of information. And then you can also reach out to him on his website, what is your website one more time?
kevinbruciaga.com/empowered eating.
There you go. I love it. Empower eating. And this is what it's all about. This is not no fad diet. I want you to understand this. It is not something that's just going to be a quick fix. It doesn't happen overnight. Kevin is going to take you from start to finish. He's going to show you how to do it and hold your hand through it. He's not just going to give you another meal plan. He's going to work with you from the inside out. He's going to help your mind, then your body, and then you're going to get the results. So this is what you want to work with Kevin. And again, Kevin, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. We'll take care. And always remember out there, if you're listening, never give up and continue to do what you do. Thank you for listening. Until next time, see you later. Hey guys, thank you for listening to the Purpose Driven Person podcast. Something I said today resonated with you. Head over to my website. I would love to give you a free gift to download, but you can also email me at purposedrivenperson@gmail.com. And don't forget to head over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. And remember, guys, always continue to push your dreams and never give up. I'll see you next time. Take care.